Whenever I always stumble upon a new YouTuber that I like, whether that would be a manifestation YouTuber, or that would be a self-improvement YouTuber, or just any kind of educational YouTuber in general, I always make sure to look at their courses or just any kind of a product that they're selling. I like to look at their marketing to see if I can adopt anything to my own marketing journey, if I can, refine something in my own sales page, but also to just look at what kind of paid things they have in there. Like, if I was able to, buy it in the first place, and if actually I went through and bought it. And when I watched this new YouTuber that one day just popped up on my recommendation feed, and I started watching him each and every single day, a whole new world just opened up to me. And I thought that it was very interesting. And yeah, it's a really deep message that I actually realized. You see, this guy was a manifestation mentor. He was selling like a bunch of courses like about the money and how the metaphysics around it work, and also just about manifestation in general. Those two courses, they costed like $200 each. And on top of all of that, if you had enough money for it, you could apply for direct one-on-one mentorship with that guy. And that costed you like $25,000 for 6 weeks. Yeah. And on top of all of that, before you could even, pay that amount for those 6 weeks, you even needed to answer like a few questions before he would let you in. And that was the touch. That was the cherry on top of the cake. And that was the second that I realized that many guys on self improvement are making this one crucial mistake. They have their standards, like the barrier of entry, like their own self worth, like their ceiling is placed so low that other people just straight up don't take them seriously. Because think about it, if it is so hard to get into that mentorship, then of course it is great, right? And like, besides even the price itself, like those questions alone make you just value the coaching program just so much more. And not only that, the coaching mentor also realizes just if you are the right person or not. Because, of course, manifestation isn't for everyone in the first place, but so isn't self improvement. Remember, only like the 1% of the best people out there all only get respect. The rest of the 99% of people, they are meant to be stuck in the slow lane and on the sidewalk, which are basically terms that I learned from The Millionaire Fastlane, which is a great book, by the way. But yeah, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that's most likely your family also. They won't be able to, achieve the 10K per month mark, and that's okay, because not everyone is meant to wake up. Some people are meant to stay asleep to show you what will happen if you never wake up. And that's something that you should write down. And you need to let that marinate inside of your brain. And you need to remember that if you want to become this valuable person that can actually provide and make money, you need to raise your standards high. And I know that immediately you're thinking like, but about TR, if I do make a product and if I do start to sell myself as an entrepreneur and if I do start to work every single day, first of all, I want to, get some people in the first place because no one will know me. And yeah, that's fine, but that's only for the first couple of weeks. When you get the snowball rolling and the momentum starts to slowly but surely build up, that's when you want to scale. And that's where you want to raise your value as a man. That's where you want to raise your entry because, first of all, you don't want idiots inside of your program. And of course, you don't want people who aren't aligned to your values to purchase it. You want real deal people who actually take that shit seriously. And of course, you'll get them. It is just that you need to change the vibrations that you're sending out into the universe. Because metaphysically speaking, if you have a product that you genuinely know it's good and that can genuinely make you a fuck ton of money, but you aren't getting the right people, and so you'll lower the price of it to the point where even like a 9 year old can buy it by just asking for a couple of bucks from his mother, then yeah, you're subconsciously sending out a signal to the universe, a frequency that implies that you're not about it, that you're not the identity of that version of yourself from the end. You're not having the thoughts inside of your head, and you're not having the feelings that you would feel upon actually becoming that person with the higher standards. And so you must raise your standards. You must you must price your products so much higher than you're doing it right now. And you must have your barrier of entry, whether that would be in business, whether that would be in anything, just way higher than it would be right here. It's like making yourself distant, right? Because imagine it like this. Your school principal. You value him so much because you don't see him that often, and that's okay because he's the school principal after all. You're not meant to see him all the time, like every single day. He just shows up in your day-to-day life probably like once per week at the most, and that's what makes you appreciate him, right? And this is what you must do also. If you want to become that version of yourself that actually earns the money, then you must start to act like him now. And you must ask yourself two very important questions. What kind of thoughts would I be getting if I was already making that kind of money? And if I already had the desired reality that I want to materialize? And the second is what kind of emotions would I feel if I was already in that desired reality? And that's up to you to decide. And the first things that come to your mind are the right answers. They are the things that you should be focusing on. So if you answer something like, the thought would be something like, I have done it. I have accomplished it. People respect me. I am valuable. I am just so much prestigious. I am an elite entrepreneur. And if the feelings are the feeling of joy, happiness, abundance, peace, all of these kinds of emotions. When you combine both of those, you will set your mentality on the right track. And you need to remember that, metaphysically speaking, if you want to materialize any kind of reality, you must do it in this kind of sequence. First, you must rearrange the mental plane, then the spiritual plane, and then the physical plane. And many people do this backwards, and that's why they will forever remain stuck. They put the physical plane all the way at the top, but you cannot outwork your mind. You cannot outwork your frequency. So you must change your identity, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, attention, and all of these things about yourself right now to the version of yourself that you would be upon achieving your goals, your results. You must think from the end and feel from the end, and the end will come to you. It was never an end goal, it was the starting location. And then, once that happens, you must realize that you, as the physical vessel of God, the materialization of the infinite, cannot do shit. It is the aspect of within you that actually rearranges your reality to suit that new frequency that you output. And that aspect of God is the imagination within you, meaning that you must just, on the mental plane, you must just completely immerse yourself in that end. You must feel from the end and think from the end. That's it. And many people do this backwards, right? They just think that they can outwork their asses off, and then they tell you stuff like, online courses are bullshit, they don't work and stuff like that. But no, 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 no. It's actually the inner knowing that gets the technique to work. And they have the fucked up mentality, right? They think that all internet entrepreneurs are BS and they are not about it. But if they just shifted their identity and then they allowed God to, and then they let go and let God and allowed the infinite to take care of them by mentally declaring that it is done because it was completed by a higher force that doesn't adhere to time or space constraints, then they would have probably succeeded at it. And then once you do that, once you take the correct action on the mental and the spiritual plane, the right action on the physical plane will follow. Because then you'll be just naturally, seduced to do certain actions. You will get those mental nudges to talk to that person, to fix this on your sales page. You'll feel the natural urge to message that guy or, that YouTuber that you've talked to lastly like 4 months ago. And so many of these new opportunities will come to your mind that you haven't taken advantage of for like a couple of months now, it will all shift for you so much. And so, now that you've changed your frequency to the person of the end, that is, thinking from the end and feeling from the end, then, yeah, reality will quite literally open up for you. You must raise your standards, bro. Because just think about what kind of a frequency that is outputting into the universe. You're outputting into the universe that you don't have, the abundance and the security right now. But if you change that frequency to the point where you're completely fine, and when your inner intuition starts telling you to raise your standards, then you will attract anything into your life, whether that is woman, money, friends, anything. They will just come flying to you because the universe, you don't react to the universe reacts to you, as within, as without. Everything must change according to your inner values, according to the frequency that you send out. Okay? So don't be afraid to raise your standards as a man. Don't be afraid to aim for higher and higher goals in life, because you're an aspect of the infinite. You're the physical materialization of the infinite intelligence of God, of whatever you want to call it. So abundance is not a privilege, it is your birthright, and you can easily tap into it if you start feeling from the end and thinking from the end. When you combine these two things, quite literally money and everything else will come flying to you. But that's unless you actually raise your values as a man and you raise your standards. Okay? Because when you raise your standards, bro, yeah, when you start to see yourself as this higher guy that you wish the world to recognize you as, everything will change for you for the better forever. That's what you need to do. Okay? Because otherwise, the world will just walk all over you, right? The universe has no other option but to respond to your inner mental activities, because that is the higher level of existence. Now, many people may argue that the spiritual plane is the highest level of existence, but I think that it is the mental plane, because because the top hermetic law of the universe is that the universe is entirely mental, because you must first choose a destination and then you give it to God and then he materializes it on our physical plane. You don't you don't, give God no instructions and then think of them. No, that's not how it works. You must do it in reverse order. So you must give him instructions first and whatever. That's philosophical and we're here to raise our values as a man. So you shouldn't focus on anything else until you don't have, your desired reality materialized. That's it. Anything else, it's just vanity, okay? But the main point of this video is that you should be okay with having high standards. You should be okay with not hanging around certain people that you don't want. All you need is just an identity shift and a shift in your frequency. Okay? By the way, if you want to completely speedrun your journey on self-improvement and on manifestation and all of these things so easily, and yeah, and if you want like a collection of 24 unbreakable mindsets that will serve you each and every single day if you apply them diligently into your life, then I highly suggest that you should go check out Timeless Readers Mindsets in the description. It is truly something life-changing. And just look at these people. I have benefited them so much, and they haven't even seen a single life lesson from that course. So when you're ready, it's only $49 now, but you better lock in the price because yeah, they're getting more and more valuable as the days goes on. And yeah, that's about it. That's how you play the game. You shift your frequency to the point where you feel from the end and think from the end of that desired reality. Then you get okay with having high standards, and then you start to attract people with high standards into your life. And then you'll start to feel like the man, and everyone around you will respect you. It all starts from within. And keep in mind, this guy that is selling the mentorship, he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. So you would be a fool not to take action. Thank you very much for watching this video, and remember, no one is better at being you